Welcome back to another episode of No Shame with Shane. I'm your host, Shane Fordham, with all the shameless sports takes. Oh, it's man, I'm scared. I'm honestly scared for my Eagles right now. I mean, I waited too long to be scared last year, with the way we were winning some of our games. But this year I'm scared. We don't have a head coach. Nick Sirianni is watching the game with the rest of us. Kellen Moore, for some reason, is hesitant and reluctant to use Saquon Barkley until it's too late in the game, to a point where it's not much he can do. It's just, it's hard to see the type of football that the Eagles have been playing and to not be worried. I mean, the offense, Jalen Hurts is making dumb mistakes. Saquon Barkley isn't being used the way that we need him to be used. Our only hope is AJ Brown coming back healthy and us being able to make something shake. Maybe the field will be a little more stretched with AJ Brown back on the field, but our offense doesn't look well right now, and our defense overall looks terrible. Specifically our secondary. Darius Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson look terrible right now. They really look like trash right now, which I know is what they are not. Darius Slay and CJ Gardner-Johnson are Pro Bowlers, two of the best DBs in the league. But right now they look garbage. They're getting beat on man coverage. They CJ Gardner-Johnson hasn't been able to make a tackle. I think he leads the league in missed tackles through the first 4 weeks of the season. It's just it's hard to watch the football that the type of football that the Eagles are playing right now and think that, oh yeah, the Eagles can be a playoff team. It's difficult for me to call the Eagles a playoff team right now with the way they've been playing. And a lot of that a lot of that comes back to Nick Sirianni. I really don't think the team we're seeing this year will be close to a Super Bowl team as long as Nick Sirianni is in the driver's seat. As long as Nick Sirianni is in the driver's seat, there's just no strategic depth that this Eagles team can have. He's literally, every one of our calls that have been game costly calls have been on Nick Sirianni. It's just there's no way the Eagles are going to be a Super Bowl team if Nick Sirianni is still the head coach. He's literally watching the game with the rest of us. And if we, for some reason, keep him through next season, then it's really going to make Howie Roseman look bad. Nick Sirianni looks so bad as a coach that it's making Howie Roseman, one of the best GMs in the league, look bad as a GM just simply off of him keeping Sirianni in that role. I don't think I've ever seen that before. A coach can be so bad that he makes a proven GM, look like he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's going to be to that point where Howie Roseman will really have to choose between his future in Philly, his own future in Philly, and Nick Sirianni's future in Philly. Because everything Nick Sirianni does reflects on Howie Roseman. So at the end of the day, Howie Roseman is going to have to start thinking about himself in regards to Nick Sirianni. He can't I remember my coaches used to always tell us the best people are going to play. The best people are going to play because I have to be able to feed my family. My coaches always told me they have to be able to feed their families. So the best people will play. The coaches will play the best guys because the guys who they play is a reflection on them. The coach that is in that role is a reflection on the AD in terms of college. It's a reflection on the GM in regards to the pros. So whatever Nick Sirianni does is going to be a reflection on Howie Roseman. So there's no way, in order for Howie Roseman to save face, there are so many reasons why getting rid of Nick Sirianni would be a positive for this team. But even just for Howie Roseman, getting rid of Nick Sirianni will allow him to save face as well, allow him to wash his hands of the lackadaisical performance at that coaching position from Nick Sirianni. And, another reason why I'm scared is because we are also in the same division as Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels looks like the best quarterback, not just in the division, but he really looks like a top 2 quarterback in the conference. I mean, so far, who's really, I can't name 3 quarterbacks in the NFC that are playing better than Jayden Daniels right now. I mean, he's he solidified himself as one of the most accurate quarterbacks in Washington Commanders history. I mean, throwing unreal numbers as a rookie. I mean, he's efficient on both his legs and with his arm. Better every single week. He's taken advantage of having a receiver one like Terry McLaurin. The run game is booming right now with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. I mean, Jayden Daniels has this whole team looking rejuvenated. I mean, this Commanders team, Jayden Daniels is making the Commanders team look like they are the best team in the division, which they are right now. They're the best team in the division, top 5 in the NFC easily, top 3 arguably. So that's another reason why I'm scared, is just because of how dangerous Jayden Daniels looks right now. I mean, I'm more scared of Jayden Daniels right now than any other quarterback in the entire conference. I mean, even in the AFC, I mean, Jayden Daniels is looking scarier than a lot of the quarterbacks in the AFC right now. So it's really going to be an interesting game to watch when the Eagles face off against the Commanders in a few weeks. But Jayden Daniels, I mean, that's why I picked him as Offensive Rookie of the Year. Everything that he has shown to be capable of in college, we're seeing how it's translating to the NFL. In college, he was a guy that would run whenever he wants, but now we're also seeing how he matures in the game, only running when he has to, looking to make the throws first, getting the ball, spreading the ball out to his playmakers, finding Austin Eckler, on those ghost routes, Texas routes coming out of the backfield, showing a chemistry with Terry McLaurin, a guy who has needed a quarterback since he's been drafted to the Commanders. So, I mean, the Commanders are really the main team I'm worried about in the division, and are one of the main teams that I'm worried about in the entire conference. But another thing that would make me even more scared is if somehow the Commanders are able to snag Davante Adams. Now, we know this has been the biggest story in football all week. Davante Adams requesting a trade from Las Vegas. I posted what my top destinations for Davante Adams would be, when he leaves the Raiders. If the Commanders get a hold of Davante Adams, the Commanders could I think that would make the Commanders the best team in the entire conference. I think that would make them a top 5 team in the league and a top 3 and the best team in the NFC. If they get a receiver like Davante Adams, this would not only make their passing game more dangerous, but Jayden Daniels it would elevate him to an MVP level. Right now, he's at an Offensive Rookie of the Year level. But with Davante Adams on the squad, with Terry McLaurin, with Dyami Brown as a number 3, with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr. in the backfield, Jayden Daniels could look like like an MVP form quarterback this year, and most definitely next year if Davante Adams were to re-sign, depending on how this season finished out. But I think that's evident because I think about some of the top quarterbacks who took a significant step forward in terms of numbers and production once they got their number 1 guy. We saw that in Joe Burrow when the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase the next year after his rookie year. Significant increase in production from Joe Burrow's rookie year to the next year with Jamar Chase. We saw that in Jalen Hurts when the Eagles brought in A.J. Brown after Jalen Hurts' first year starting. And Jalen Hurts went from being a standout quarterback in the NFC to runner-up for MVP in 2022. Joe Burrow getting Jamar Chase took him from being a solid-looking rookie, which ended in injury, to then being a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, leading the Bengals to their first Super Bowl. I believe it might have been even their first Super Bowl ever. So if Jayden Daniels is able to get a bona fide Pro Bowler number one receiver like Davante Adams, imagine how significant his increase in numbers would be. Jayden Daniels is already playing like a top 5 quarterback right now. Neither Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow look like a top 5, top 6, top 8 quarterback their first year starting without their number one guys. Jayden Daniels looks like a top 5 quarterback now. If he were to get Davante Adams on the same field with Terry McLaurin, I think that duo could not only be a top 3 receiver duo in the league, but Jayden Daniels, I think we would see Jayden Daniels in an outer worldly form if the Commanders are somehow able to land Davante Adams. Now, speaking to Davante Adams' trade, I really think the best teams for Davante Adams, if I'm Davante Adams, the main 2 teams that I would be looking at, or main 3, would be the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Commanders. The Chiefs by far would be the best team for Davante Adams to go to if he's actually interested in winning a Super Bowl. I mean, that goes without saying. You got Patrick Mahomes, best player in the NFL. You have Andy Reid, the best coach in the NFL right now, who knows how to handle big personalities and star players. It's a team that has the chemistry that Davante Adams would be able to fit perfectly into, just a drop in the bucket. We know that the Chiefs desperately need receivers right now, with Rashee Rice being out for a good part of this season. They're not having even with him healthy, not having the deepest receiver room in the league, the best receiver room in the league. Hollywood Brown being out for a significant amount of time. So the Chiefs really need Davante Adams as much as Davante Adams needs the Chiefs. If winning a Super Bowl is something Davante Adams cares about, if that's the number one priority on his list, there's no doubt how dangerous that offense could be with Patrick Mahomes having Davante Adams, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and a healthy Hollywood Brown all on the field as we get closer to the postseason. And we know Patrick Mahomes is a guy who can get the ball to his top guys in those key moments. So I definitely think the Chiefs would be the best team for him. And then the Saints obviously would be the second best option. Derek Carr reuniting with his old teammate from Fresno State. He would be reuniting with his old receiver coach in Keith Williams. They have the weapons surrounding Carr and Davante Adams to make a significant playoff run this year, especially out of the NFC. Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. They're looking like the most explosive offense in the league right now without Davante Adams. With them, in addition, adding Davante Adams to that offense, the Saints could very well be a Super Bowl team this year. It would really take, Derek Carr would really just have to tank in order for the Saints to not be an NFC championship team at the least, with the defense that they have. And then, obviously I think the Commanders would be a good fit. I really think, though, at the end of the day, Davante Adams should want to go to any other team but the Jets. I think the Jets would be signing with the Jets would be the worst mistake for Davante Adams. One, because the Jets have too much going on right now within that team. The head coach, Robert Saleh, doesn't have control over the squad. He and Aaron Rodgers aren't on one accord. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, aside from this last performance with Garrett Wilson over 100 receiving yards, 1 touchdown, Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers before this point haven't been on one accord. The defense is in shambles, falling apart. So signing with the Jets would be, in my mind, a terrible choice and decision by Davante Adams, even though he would be reuniting with Aaron Rodgers. Because it's cool that he would be reuniting with Aaron Rodgers, but my thing is, what version of Aaron Rodgers is he reuniting with? Aaron Rodgers clearly looks like a 40-year-old quarterback who is getting off of who's trying to come back off of an Achilles injury right now. And we also his future in New York is not certain. Like Davante Adams, if you're signing with the team, you want to sign with a team that has a quarterback that is going to be there for a while, for the foreseeable future. Aaron Rodgers was contemplating retirement before signing with the Jets. We don't know how much longer Aaron Rodgers has, not only on the Jets, but in the league as a whole. So he would be signing to a team where the main quarterback could be retiring or leaving next year. It would really be, you don't want to make the same mistake twice. I mean, this could easily turn into the same exact situation he is trying to leave now in Las Vegas. You know, he requests a trade from Green Bay in pursuit of reuniting with his old college teammate in Derek Carr. Derek Carr is traded to New Orleans. So now he's stuck. Then if he signs with the Jets, that could easily just be deja vu. And now he's stuck on a young Jets team with no quarterback after Aaron Rodgers retires or goes to another team, whatever. The Jets, the future of Aaron Rodgers on the Jets is uncertain. The future of the Jets is uncertain. We don't know how much longer Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. We know with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's going to be there for a while. We know with the Bills, Josh Allen's going to be there for a while. We know Jayden Daniels is going to be in Washington for the foreseeable future. We know Mahomes is going to be in Kansas City for the foreseeable future. We know Derek Carr, as of right now, is going to be in New Orleans for the foreseeable future. So Davante Adams should want to sign with any other team but the Jets. So I really hope, it would be really exciting to see where Davante Adams ends up, but I'll definitely be monitoring that, because any team that Davante Adams goes to has to be considered a threat. I mean, at least out of that top destination list. I mean, I do see how it is sort of a risk in terms of what the Raiders are asking for. You know, second round pick, additional compensation. You know, you also have his contract to worry about. But in my mind, especially depending on the team I am, the benefit outweighs the risk for me. I mean, Davante Adams is an elite receiver. I mean, top 5 receiver in the league, premier guy. Like, he's one of those guys where the benefits 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, the benefits outweigh the risk. So I definitely think at least those top 3 teams I named, the Chiefs, Saints, and the Commanders, they should be willing to match that price in order to get a guy like Davante Adams. So, but that's all we got for today's edition of No Shame with Shane. If you haven't already, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on all of our social media platforms, and I will be back next time with more shameless things.